Hello, everybody. Welcome to this managerial accounting course, which is also referred to as management accounting. And I'm very sure you'll absolutely love this course. I have structured this in a very efficient manner, and everything will be very clear, and everything that I will teach is what you need to know. So let's jump directly into it. First concept that you should always learn in managerial accounting is what is managerial accounting? Like, what are we learning here? So I would encourage you to think of managerial accounting as a accounting that helps managers make better decisions, right? That is like a very good way of thinking about it. Accounting that helps managers make better decisions. Now, what does that actually mean? Because it is not clear with that definition. Like, it's so vague, helps manager make better decisions. So, because managers are required to make decisions about a lot of different aspects of the business. So, managerial accounting, we learn how to make good decisions in all of the different areas that managers have to uh, make decisions in. So, so once now that we have cleared out what managerial accounting means, let's jump directly into the topics. So first topic I will encourage you to know about is called manufacturing costs. This is extremely important to understand correctly. So manufacturing costs. So remember, in a manufacturing company, there are just three manufacturing costs. Okay, there's direct material. We'll explain what that is. There's something called direct labor, and the last one is called factory overheads or production overheads. So I will just write in this case manufacturing overhead, because there are so many names for this, 4 or 5 different names. Okay, so let's explain what each of these costs refer to. So direct material refers to the material used to make the product. For example, if I ask you what is the direct material of making a laptop, you will say a keyboard, a screen, processor, RAM, right? All of these things that you'll put together to make the laptop. Similarly, when we talk about direct labor, we are talking about the labor which are assembling the product. Okay, so labor that are assembling the product means they are directly involved in making the product come together and work as a unit. Now you might say, what if they're using machines? Of course, nowadays everybody uses machines to make products, right? So yes, the same thing applies, because people need to operate the machines. The people who are operating the machine to assemble the laptop, those are the direct labor. So after that, now we have the last term, which is the term that most people don't really understand. They have like different definitions, and they never really get to the correct way of thinking about it. So I will give you the easiest and the best way to think about it. Think of manufacturing overhead as all of the factory related costs other than direct material and direct labor. So that's a very good way to think about it, because please understand that when you have a manufacturing business, you have the factory where you make the products, and then you have the office, right? So we are saying all of the factory costs that you're paying, the factory rent, factory electricity, factory, let's say, supervisor, factory depreciation, all of the costs that you're incurring in the factory, except the direct material and direct labor, are manufacturing overhead. So in this case, let me write some examples for you. So this will be factory rent, or rather than saying factory depreciation, you can just say like equipment depreciation in the factory, and like all of these other factory related costs. Like, just like that's the best way to think about it. If it's a factory cost, and if it is not direct material labor, it is automatically considered a overhead. Now that we've talked about the three manufacturing costs, please understand that when you're making a product, these are the only things you need, right? You need the material, you need the labor, and you need the overheads, place where you're actually making the product. And that's practically like what manufacturing cost means. Now, I do want you to be familiar with some terms that we also use for manufacturing costs. So if you're given an exam, you don't get confused with like, oh, what does that word mean, right? You already have an idea. So please understand that manufacturing cost is also called product cost, which should make sense because manufacturing cost is a cost to make a product. Product cost is exactly as the name suggests, like the same, literally the same thing. And obviously, you might be thinking, what about the non-manufacturing cost? Non-manufacturing costs are any cost that is not a manufacturing cost. That's one way to think about it. Or any office-related costs. You know, there are many ways to think about non-manufacturing costs, but these are very obvious usually. These are like any cost that is not a manufacturing cost. And now another term that you can also see for non-manufacturing cost is called the period cost. So just to make sure we understand this, manufacturing costs are also called product cost, and non-manufacturing costs are also referred to as period costs. So that's it for the manufacturing costs.